President of the United States, Donald Trump, confirms Charlie Kirk's killer has now been arrested. After two fake and false suspects, the FBI was struggling to catch Charlie Kirk's killer. But now President Trump has now stated that Charlie Kirk's killer has finally been arrested. He was earlier at large. There was a swirl of confusion that had earlier gripped the United States, Utah, after the fatal shooting of Charlie Kirk, an activist and a close ally of President Donald Trump of the United States. Officials hailed the arrest of one suspect only to reverse the course later. But now, President of the United States, Donald Trump, says Charlie Kirk's killer has now been arrested. After two suspects were taken and then released, they said there's an ongoing investigation and manhunt for the shooter. Charlie Kirk, 31, was shot dead while addressing a large outdoor crowd at the Utah Valley University, UREM. These are the shots of the accused, of the person who's now been arrested. He was running through at that time near Salt Lake City in UREM around 2:20 p.m. on that day. And the Department of Public Safety had also issued a statement. Let me also go across to Kruthat. Kruthat, what are the details we are picking up of the person who's now finally been arrested as the killer of Charlie Kirk?
The very early inputs that are coming in rhythm at the moment, a 3-day manhunt for the man who killed Charlie Kirk at the university in Utah is now finally in custody. That's the one-line breaking update that we are getting at the moment. Further details are awaited. There was a massive manhunt launched by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, which was personally being led by the bureau chief there, Kash Patel, and even a $100,000 reward was announced by the US FBI for leads into the arrest. The pictures were released of the man there fleeing the scene that we are running at the moment from the rooftop of the university. It is believed to have been a sniper shot that has killed allegedly Charlie Kirk 3 days ago while he was speaking at a university event in Utah. And now the biggest breaking news update that we have, President Trump has confirmed that the assassin, the man who killed Charlie Kirk, has been arrested. At the moment, the identity of this killer is yet to be ascertained or at least made public. He's in FBI custody, and the most important fact will be about understanding the motives of this killer, whether they were ideological or whether there was something else, and what particularly provoked this man to carry out this attack. Was there a larger conspiracy behind the murder of conservative commentator Charlie Kirk? Was it a political violence case as it has been touted to be? Remember, Charlie Kirk has now been hailed as one of the 4 leading political commentators from the conservative side. In fact, US has also announced the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which is the Bharat Ratna equivalent of the United States for Charlie Kirk. That was the announcement made by President Trump just a couple of days ago. The entire US government had mobilized its resources to locate this man, the killer on your screen, who was absconding for 3 long days when the world's most popular investigative agency, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI, was on the hunt for him. And now the biggest breaking news development rhythm that we are tracking at the moment, awaiting further confirmation from the United States about the details of what happened, is that he has been finally arrested, and President Trump has responded to Charlie Kirk's assassin saying that he did not deserve this. I think there is a high degree of certainty that we have him in custody, and Charlie Kirk's assassin suspect is what President Trump, the US President himself, has announced to the world now, that is perhaps in custody. We are further awaiting clarifications. The FBI is expected to make an official statement now that the US President has announced that the suspect is likely in custody. What does that mean, and the specifics of it and the implications in the larger investigation is something that remains to be seen. But for the last 3 days, there was a complete state of shock in the United States after conservative commentator Charlie Kirk was assassinated while he was speaking at an event, in a university event on campus in Utah. He frequently did that. He visited various campuses and held debates and discussions with liberals and people from the opposite side of the political spectrum. That was his thing. And during one of these events in Utah, he was killed. The motivations initially reported by the US media was also believed to have been something linked to the stance of Charlie Kirk and his positions on that. However, there are no confirmations on whether that was the case or not. Now that the person is in FBI custody, according to President Trump, those were the facts which will be soon revealed upon interrogation. But as the due process of law is concerned, US President Donald Trump just yesterday had in fact called this killer an animal, saying that he did not deserve this and that he will be treated with the full wrath of the law appropriately. Now all eyes will be on whether the identity of this killer is made public and the motivations are, because this will have international ramifications.